We're probably live. I think we're live. The people are getting a show. The show before the show, to be exact. Dun, dun, dun.
Hey, yo, my rap style swing like Willie Mays. My eyes purple haze. My solar rays that burn through shades. Rhyme grenades raid the airwaves. Cats this rap pays. Sorry for that.
I forgot I was running the camera, so you guys just got to see me for a second there until I remembered, hey, should probably give Ryan some love.
Oh,
it's all you now, Ryan.
I had the sound. That's all I need.
So, fun fact about Rye Dog, when he's on a podcast and he's sound checking, he can't help himself but sound check with songs. It has to be a song.
Check out my melody.
Usually that one. What's up, Ryan? What's up?
Okay,
you're on Candid Camera.
Today's a big podcast. We're on Fight Week. We're previewing our huge card on Saturday night. Not only that, but we have legendary LFA founder, and he's not owner, is he?
Founder for sure. I don't know if he owns. Yeah, I don't know.
LFA's Ed Soares, who is a legend. He has built an empire of, he had pretty much every Brazilian fighter at one point under contract in the UFC, and now he is the founder of LFA, and he has built, it's the Ed Soares, it's Ed Soares' world, and we're all just living in it.
That's facts. Yeah, it was a pretty cool opportunity, man. LFA has a fight card coming up in Kentucky, LFA 210. It is actually not their very next card, but 210 in Kentucky, obviously close geographically to us. If you guys were interested in seeing an LFA card, this one is a very reasonable drive and a really stacked card. We're not going to get too into it right now. We'll wait for Mr. Soares to join for that. But we are going to be talking about that card and just talking about what he's been able to do with LFA in general. Obviously, us being a regional local fight promotion and hosting a lot of events, this is like a dream come true kind of interview where you get a guy who's doing it at the highest level. I think anybody will acknowledge and agree that LFA is basically a small step under the UFC. Like the next step from LFA is the UFC. So they're basically
you're wrong. GFL is really where it's at.
Sorry. How could I possibly forget the almighty GFL taking over? I'm shocked that they're not crushing it, Ryan. How do you feel about that?
There's just a certain when you've been doing this, you understand this game, this sport. It's just become blatantly obvious. When someone comes in and thinks they're just gonna like rule the roost, it just doesn't work like that.
It rarely works like that, and you can tell. We were just having a conversation about a promotion that is doing. It looks good, like they're off to a good start. They're investing a lot of money. They're taking it seriously, and it just is a matter of, can you get those returns before you run out of gas? Because this is tough. If you guys look at regional MMA promotions, basically have a shelf life of 5 years. They'll be around, they'll do stuff, and then that year 5 hits, and it's like, we're out.
Why are we still doing this?
Yeah. And for us, of course, we have a lot going on that is very exciting. Obviously, we're inside Sunny Days Arena right now. So Sunny Days Arena at the venue kind of gets our juices flowing, and just seeing how the Pittsburgh scene has grown and developed over our existence makes it very exciting. But if we didn't have the venue, Ryan, would we be running out of steam?
I've already said that if we didn't have the venue to look forward to, I don't know that we'd be. I don't know. It's hard. It's really hard, and the return is not great, and it's just difficult. And if you don't love this and you don't like, your main goal is to make money, you need to find a different route. Like that's just not. That's not what we are.
Couldn't agree more, man. And I gotta say, Ryan, I'm looking at the table there. There's a pretty tasty snack right in front of you. What do you got? What you got over there? What's going on there?
Well, funny you ask. Is I have this little thing. It's called Shroom Bar, and it's literally taking over. It's taking over.
Get that thing on camera. Get it on camera.
This scene has never seen anything quite like Shroom Bar Takeover. The Shroom Bar Takeover. Listen. when you're looking for a protein snack, you're looking for something that's good and has lots of protein, right? But what if you could add additional benefits to that? And that's where the shroom bar comes into play. This is a perfect bar for someone who trains jiu-jitsu, someone who trains combat sports, someone who trains boxing, someone who trains MMA. This is the perfect bar because of the added benefits of shroom.
You got to love that. I've been legitimately, when I talked to Shroom Bar, when we first started talking about working together, I had been legitimately taking mushroom adaptogens for several months before that. So this was already a realm that I was very interested in, that I do feel genuinely helps my mental clarity, especially my energy levels in the morning. Take them first thing in the morning, and it just feels like it starts the day right, gets you kind of locked in early. If you guys kind of struggle with mental clarity, cloudiness, really erratic work behavior, I think mushroom adaptogens can help with that. And I don't work out hard enough to know, but allegedly they really help with your cardio as well, with your workouts.
So are you working out?
No.
Okay. You said hard enough, and I just didn't know if that meant at all or not at all.
Yeah, no. So I mean, I have to walk up these steps at the venue. Walking from one end of the venue to the other is pretty rough sometimes.
I mean, with the elevator down, you used to take the elevator. You wouldn't even walk up the steps.
Exactly. But we are officially at past 12:30, pretty significantly past 12:30. So
Yep.
we're rolling over here, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys got questions for Ed Soares, you can drop them in the comments, and we'll get them when he joins the show, and we'll get to that. And obviously, if they're appropriate. If you're inappropriate, you can just get out.
You need to not
family
be
friendly.
inappropriate. This is appropriate attire only.
Appropriate attire only. I do need
not attire.
But. Yeah, I knew what you meant. I need to shout out Danny Palm. Obviously, not here to run the keys, so I am here trying to run it on my own and run the show, get people in here, do the show. It's tough. This is a tough job he's got. There's a lot of switcheroni going on. I gotta say, there's a whole lot going on when you're trying to do this.
Yeah, when you're trying to keep the camera, it's not like Zoom that it automatically puts it on the camera, the person that's talking. Like, you have to manually do that every time, and remembering that and like paying attention at all times is like not my strong suit.
Same. And you're trying to have a good conversation and be locked into the conversation and somewhat intelligent throughout. So you're not really thinking about pushing buttons during that. But
I have a lot of excitement in me right now because we're only like, it's like hours now, away from, I mean, it's 4-5 days. Is it 5?
I don't know.
Tuesday,
I can't
Wednesday,
count.
Thursday, Friday. So 4 days away from a really, really, really stacked card.
Like absurdly stacked, guys. I think you guys can see on the screen right now some of the names that are on it. But that only kind of sets the table. Those are maybe the juiciest, the pro fighters on the card, getting some love there. But this card goes way beyond just the pro fights. I mean, we have 11 bouts, and they are all legitimately. I'm excited about every single one for very different reasons. I love the narratives that are weaved all over this card, man. There's a lot of fun storylines going on. However, Ryan.
However,
you can't ignore the co-main and main events. What is going on with this co-main and main?
It's just like, it's the best of the best, back to back, both against the best of the best. Like, it's so much fun, and these are both like headline worthy. These are the type of fights that would be on the LFA card, that would be on. I mean, these are the cream of the crop. They rise to the top. They never eat a pig because a pig is a cop. But oh wait, no, sorry about that. I'm just busting out in rhymes all day.
If you guys ever wanted to know what it was like to work with Ryan, you just got a strong sample of it right there. We just had Love Louisville Style chime in and say, what time is Ed coming on? So we're expecting Ed around 1 p.m. So when he joins, we will obviously shift the conversation to Ed and all things LFA. We are just kind of breaking down our upcoming card on Saturday. In the meantime, kind of setting the tone for people. You know, this card, April 26th, this coming Saturday for us in Bell Vernon is really special. Honestly, we kind of thought about co-main and main with Justin Patton versus Chuka Willis and Ethan Goss versus Brady Huang on there, but these are 4 featherweights where legitimately they're all on nice winning streaks. They've all done it, seen it, veteran guys, crazy high upside with all 4 of them. All 4 of them have a case for being that next level UFC level kind of guy. So I say whoever has the best performances out of those 4 is probably going to be seeing the next level much sooner than later. I would not be surprised if this is the last time the winners out of those ones fight for us. I could totally see that happening. They would certainly deserve it. There's no doubt about that.
For sure. And I mean, you know, you get to a point with fighters in the promotion where you're wanting them as much as you love having them, you're wanting to lift them up. You're wanting to help them get to the next level. And that's where we're at with both these guys. They're both primed and ready, and both have those, that UFC goal in mind, and putting them in a position to have opportunities where they win a fight. And can you be denied? I don't know. I think if both these guys win this weekend, it has to be about that time.
Yeah. I agree with you. What's left to accomplish here? I mean, we might have to lobby Ed once he's on here. Like, Ed, if the UFC doesn't take them, can you please take them? They deserve a title fight. They deserve something. At this point, it would be kind of ridiculous. Ethan's won 7 in a row. If he goes on an 8-fight winning streak, defending 2 different belts in 2 different weight classes for us multiple times, what do you do after that? We can only sell this so many times.
Here's the crazy part is, like, if you watch MMA Fancast with Luke Payson, big shout out, Luke, you saw Ethan Goss's podcast that they just put out last night, I think. Ethan said something pretty, important, right? If he wins this fight, he's 8-0 in his last 5 years, right? If you take a look at a guy who just got an opportunity for Dana White Contender Series, he's 8-0. His 8 wins have come. There's been 2 fighters with a winning record in that whole span. Ethan Goss, his whole winning streak are people with winning records that are,
title worthy guys for the most part.
Title worthy guys. And there's a big difference. And so when you feel for a guy who, he took some fights early on that he probably shouldn't have took or wasn't quite ready for mentally, but he's really turned that all around and he's clicking on all cylinders. And there's no denying that if you look at the last 5 years of him versus featherweights that are getting opportunities, there's no, he outranks them.
Yeah, it's not even close. That's a fantastic way to frame it. I hadn't really looked at it that way, but that makes perfect sense. Yeah, the level of competition in his 8-fight winning streak versus somebody pro debuting to 8 wins is just completely different.
There are guys on that list that would absolutely destroy some of the guys that are getting opportunities, and that's what's frustrating for him. He has been told, turn this thing around, we'll get it, and he's done all of those things, and he's seeing opportunities go to people that he feels are inferior to him.
Yeah, and
it's tough.
Yeah, that is tough from the outside looking in, but he has a job to do on Saturday, and certainly overlooking Brady would not be a smart decision on Ethan's part, nor is he, just to be clear. He's definitely not. He understands this is an incredibly dangerous fight for him. Brady is a leg lock, heel hook specialist, and we all know how that goes in MMA. You could have a 2-second quite literally a 2-second mental lapse, and that's all it will take for somebody like that to capitalize and end the fight. There's not a whole lot you can do when somebody is that good at that particular technique. I'm sure you guys have all seen any leg locker with good breaking mechanics. I mean, it's a wrap if they get it. So
I also think it's a mistake to put Brady in that box, because Brady's a very well-rounded fighter. He's just so elite at submissions and leg locks in particular that it's almost overwhelming how good he is at that. But he's a very, very well-rounded fighter, and he's not just a leg lock guy. He has all kind of submissions. So I wouldn't kind of put him in that box because he's dangerous everywhere.
I mean, 14-4. You don't get to that record without knowing a little bit of everything. So yeah, Brady is a really phenomenal fighter. Obviously, we've targeted this bout in the past, so it's awesome that we were able to kind of run it back. And do got some comments I want to address real quick. Nico Gazda in here. What up, brother? We are having a great week, man. Fight week's always a great week, and it's always a great week when you're tuning into the chat. So thanks, man. Cam the Sham, what up, dude? Nice to see you again. Hope everything is going well. He wants us to bring him back. Yeah, man, we had a fantastic experience working with you. Super impressed by your skills. That fight versus Siebert was wild. So yeah, you're always welcome back, man. We'll be in touch. But I think you have something scheduled, right? You have a fight coming up? I feel like I've seen you announce a fight. Just let me know. Yeah, and Jared Billy wants to make a prediction for Dibert versus Lyoto, which would be a good time to talk about the fact that Tyler Dibert, amateur the newcomer of the year this year in the 247 awards, undefeated, 3-0, Gorilla House product, 1 win by decision, 1 win by submission, 1 win by knockout. Pretty amazing year in 2024 for Tyler Dibert. And now he's taking a huge step up against Mr. James Lyoto, who we all know for his high-flying antics in our cage. I believe he's 3-0 for us. Fight of the year versus Ken Burrs. Well, that was an insane fight.
That was a crazy fight.
Easily some of the craziest slams we've ever seen in the cage. If you guys have never seen James Lyoto fight, it is very high octane. He is exciting. He puts on a show. It is very spectacular would be the word I would use to describe it.
And he's super aggressive. Like he has ruthless aggression. I would compare him to like, I don't know, Robbie Lawler in his prime, or like guys that are just very aggressive. He is that guy, and it can be overwhelming.
Yeah, he doesn't want to just take you down. He wants to slam you through the cage. Like that is his demeanor. Everything is just amplified with him. We got Andrew Paula tapping into. What's up, Paula? How you feeling, bro? You ready to take some pictures Saturday? Main dude, if you guys aren't familiar with Andrew Paula, I highly recommend you go check out his IG and follow him. Andrew Paula, that's PALLAPGH. Get on that. You need to get on that life. He is an incredible photographer. Awesome to have him on our team. He's always bringing bangers. I mean, I don't know about you, Ryan, but I genuinely look forward to the post-fight pictures from all of our guys. Like, it's exciting.
Sure. Yeah, it gets like each of them has their specialty, and they're so good at it. And so checking out those pictures is always fun. I want to give a shout out though to another sponsor. We have Sunny Days In-Home Care. They live up to the name by brightening the lives of seniors right in their own homes across Pittsburgh. Their caregivers provide personal, compassionate care that makes your loved ones feel like family, helping them stay comfortable and independent. Sunny Days In-Home Care has been a sponsor of ours since day one, and we could not be more thankful for them. And as we continue on in our venture, we're continuing on with them and new things. As you know, Sunny Days Arena, they are now the namesake sponsor of the arena. So we are loving that relationship continuing to build. Sunny Days In-Home Care is the absolute best in in-home care.
Oh, and then
man.
They are the best. They are the best, but we're missing Danny Palm right now. I thought Ryan was done, so I switched to me, and he wasn't done. So we had a fun frame that should just be me looking like a deer in the headlights there for a second.
I thought you were going to say looking like a dude.
Looking like a dude. Well, that's just all the time, bro. That's just all the time. Default state. But yeah, Sunny Days In-Home Care, it literally doesn't get better than those guys. They are the absolute best.
And guys, you guys are watching because you're fans of the MMA, the local MMA scene, that community, and that's a big deal. And so the people that support that like MMA in Pittsburgh, you need to support those same companies. So if you see someone sponsoring a fighter, sponsoring a promotion, doing things that help move the sport and help do like support those guys, give them encouragement to continue making MMA in Pittsburgh great. Again.
I was waiting for that. I figured you couldn't possibly say that without adding again to the end of it. That was nice. Nicely
That's
done.
right.
And I will say, and I promise it's going to sound like I'm just saying it because there are sponsors, but every sponsor we have is somebody who I genuinely would give my business to, even if they didn't sponsor us. And I've proven that with some of them that like Strip District Meats. Shroom Bar, I would buy anyway. I've talked about the fact that I use mushroom adaptogens, and that's an amazing product. So I would definitely use that. Rehab center, if I need chiropractic adjustment, I went in one time and Isaac just gave me an adjustment for free. And I was like, that's what that's about? Because I feel amazing right now. Like, I had no idea that that's how this was, because I'd actually never been adjusted before in my life. So it was like 32 years of life and then got an adjustment. He was like, you've never had an adjustment before? I was like, no. He's
you
like,
need an attitude adjustment now.
Whoa. Do you
smack down on that candy ass?
Wonder if Isaac does that. Do you think Isaac does attitude
I'm pretty
adjustments?
sure he does that a lot. You can ask anyone that trains at the Mat Factory.
That's awesome. That's actually his primary adjustment.
So for real though, Austin, my oldest, he has like brown circles all over his back at all times from heading up to the rehab center. So huge shout out to those guys. We don't just talk about them and not like, these are all people we enjoy doing business with, and they're the best.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they actually are. Like, unquestionably they are. And my boy Nick Seto in the comments says, I'm never in Pittsburgh for the fights I want to see the most. Poor dude, always traveling, always all over the U.S. But he said, I'm very excited to tune into the pay-per-view on Saturday. What other regional org is putting together this many high-level pro fights? Yeah, Nick, I feel you, dog. LFA.
LFA, let's go.
We'll be hearing all about that shortly. But for people like Nick who can't come Saturday to Bell Vernon to see these fights in person, which, you know, we're not just saying this because we want you to buy tickets, but I think we can all agree the best way to see fights is live and in person. So if you have the ability to do so, that is our recommendation for the best way to consume them. But if you genuinely can't, we do have an app. It's called 247 Live, and the website is stream247live.com. You can purchase a one-off pay-per-view. You don't have to subscribe, although you can subscribe for a year for $89.99, $90 essentially for an entire year of programming, which is 8+ live streams and growing by the day. Yeah. So
if you bought it today, you'd probably get out of that year, you'd probably get 11 or 12 live events.
Yeah.
Live MMA events.
Exactly. So the 247 Live annual subscription, I think, is the best value. A pay-per-view is $35, so you can one-off $35, no commitment, boom. So I'm not the best at math, Ryan, but even I can do that math. If you watched 3 of our shows in a year, you would have been better off getting the annual subscription. You would have saved money.
You are not good at math, but you are also correct.
I got that one. And then once you purchase the pay-per-view on stream247live.com, make your account, sign up. The 247 Live app is free on iOS, so any iPhone, iPad, Apple TV, Android, Roku, Fire TV, and did I say Apple TV already?
Maybe.
I think I did.
iOS.
Pretty sure I did. iOS. I definitely said that as well. Yeah, it's free pretty much anywhere you need an app. You can just say that.
No, not everywhere.
Not Samsung.
Not Samsung yet.
We're working on it.
Yeah, maybe.
Apps
soon,
are all expensive and stuff.
It costs money. We got to get in this venue, guys. We got to get in this venue.
Yeah, so for people just tuning in, Ed Soares will be joining right around 1 p.m. He's obviously a very professional type dude, so I expect him to be on time. Hashtag
now
Cahill.
You're putting pressure on him. Hashtag what?
Cahill.
Oh!
I hope we got the hashtag Cahill on that. It is now, if you're late for a podcast, that is a verb. It's called Cahilling. You are Cahilling.
You've been Cahilled.
You've been Cahilled if somebody's late for your podcast.
And then you get the gorilla. What do you have? A deer head.
A bison.
A bison.
That was awesome. I was just telling Patton about that. I don't remember if we were on like streaming or not when we were talking about that.
It was so funny when we went to the. So Taylor, what do you think of this? And then you just see the
just crickets on a bison head. Wait, I got crickets here, right? Oh, why didn't it play? Oh no, it didn't play.
You don't have the volume up or that.
Hey, let's try that again. Yeah. Sorry, I'm no Danny Palm. But who is, who is?
There aren't many.
There's only one. There's only one Daniel Palm. So we're going to be talking.
Actually two. His dad is Daniel Palm too.
Nice. So for people who don't know, I do want to set the stage for Ed Soares a little bit. If you're not familiar with the name, you probably are familiar with his work. You know him, even if you don't know, you know him. So Ed Soares, for old school UFC fans, you're definitely familiar with him. He managed the absolute best of the best guys, best of the best Brazilian fighters in their day. Minotauro Nogueira, Anderson Silva, Jose Aldo, Lyoto Machida. I mean, it was like the best of the best that Ed Soares was in charge with, and I'm in charge of. And I think he also ran Black House MMA.
Yeah, well, he did. But the other thing, like the casual UFC fan would probably recognize him because he did a lot of the translating of his fighters in the cage and the post-fight interviews. All the Brazilian fighters he would translate.
Yep.
Live with Rogan.
Yep. So that was him. So like I said, if you've seen him, even if you didn't know it was him, you've probably seen his work or known about him. But most notably recently, he founded LFA. And LFA has obviously emerged as a complete powerhouse in regional MMA. I mean, at this point, they're not even regional MMA to me. They're pretty much national, international brand.
They're national at this point.
Yeah. I think they go to Brazil sometimes as well. So, I mean, they're on a different planet than us, so to speak. That's for sure. But we'll get there. We're working on it.
We'll get there.
People, I mean, LFA obviously.
That's not even where, like, I don't know. They're a different model. Than
yeah. It's not entirely really the goal either. But if you guys if you look at this upcoming LFA card, LFA 210, we're gonna look at it obviously with Ed, but the lineup is super fun for us because there are several 247 vets on this card, which Ryan and I were talking before when LFA reached out to do this.
Oh, that's the other cool thing. They reached out to us, which is cool. Like,
yeah, no, that was awesome.
We weren't like, I mean, we would have, but we didn't. But it was cool getting a reached out from them and saying, hey, we'd like to have Ed on your podcast, which was, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm not sure that they realize that a lot of these guys have fought for us. I don't know. Like that obviously wasn't the angle.
Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
We have a podcast that's in Pittsburgh and we stream nationwide. We don't know if they know we're more than just a podcast. They might just think we're an MMA podcast in Pittsburgh. We're a little. There's a whole country here, and we're just a little speck.
Yeah,
and they know our podcast, but do they? Who knows? They might not know we're a promotion.
I would not be surprised if they don't, but we're going to talk about that. Obviously, I was telling Ryan, it's going to be awesome talking to Ed. I mean, this is a guy who is doing it at the very highest level. Business, in terms of MMA businessman, he's one of the best to ever do it on several levels. He owned the Sinister brand that was everywhere, that clothing brand. I mean, he's crazy. He's done it all, truly.
There are, I mean, his promotion sets the standard for regional MMA. Like this is as good as it gets. They do things that we aspire to do, and from a production standpoint, from a way they treat the fighters and how they are able to be this powerhouse. They're giant.
Yeah, Luke Martin, he fought for our title back at Brandenburg 24. Amazing fighter, awesome dude. Luke fought for LFA somewhat recently, and I asked his coach, Mike Wilkins, afterwards. I was like, what was the LFA experience like? And I was like, well, let me ask this I'll ask you the question I'm really asking is, what do they do that we don't do that we could adopt from them? So just to build on Ryan's point, absolutely, they do things at an extremely high level that I think we want to model some of the things they do, and we did. We took some ideas from Mike, and it was very helpful. And those small little details make a big difference, man. That fighters have commented on that. I won't say specifically. I won't give away the secret sauce, but it's been noticed. I'll say that by fighters. So that's amazing. And we do got Chris Bermudo in the house now too. All the photographers tapping in. We need Go Down in here. Where you at, Go Down? Come on, bro.
Bruh. Dad's in here.
Is he? I didn't even see that.
Oh.
Marty SRV in the house, or Homestec 4, or whatever his name is on Instagram.
It's Martin SRV.
I should probably know. Should probably know my dad's Instagram handle. But yeah, it's going to be a good talk, guys. Like I said, he should be joining here momentarily, any second, I would imagine.
I wanna one of the things I think that kind of gets lost a little bit with such a great title fight headliner is the co-main. Like Justin Patton, this is a fight that this Shaka Willis and Justin Patton fight. This is a barn burner, literally a ridiculous headlining fight on most other cards, and it's kind of buried behind that title fight. And I think this is just such an incredible fight. Both these guys are wanting to take heads off, and I think they're both going to want to stand and bang. Both are very capable of taking it to the ground and winning there, but I think they're both going to want to keep it on the feet.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And that is definitely a fight worth talking about. And just like Beetlejuice, Justin Patton just tuned in to the podcast as we're talking about his fight. That's awesome. I know he's ready to go. Come on, let's go. They said Ed will be 3 minutes late because he's driving. That's no big deal. We will hold down the fort until 1:03 for him. We'll wait all day for Ed Soares. We're on Soares time. But yeah, the Patton fight. I mean, let's just say what it is, Ryan. In all honesty, Justin's been title worthy for us for a while now. The run that he's on, the audience that he's built, and literally what's holding that back is the fact that Ethan Goss is a good friend and training partner. They have no interest in derailing each other's UFC dreams. So if Ethan wasn't in the picture, Justin would be fighting for the title. Let's just call it what it is locally.
For sure.
Yeah.
He probably would have been quite a few fights ago. And he'd be defending, or, someone, defending, because he hasn't lost in 3 fights anyway.
Yeah. So when we talk about the level, the caliber of fighter, all 4 of those featherweights at the top of the card, Justin, Chuka, Brady, Ethan, all very similar. I mean, you could throw them in a hat and mix them up and pull names, and any matchup you get is going to be an awesome matchup.
We could have a one-night tournament. We're gonna throw them all in a hat. We're gonna except Justin and Ethan wouldn't fight each other. So that
yeah, right. The tournament's canceled, guys.
Yeah, never mind. We scratched the tournament before we even started it.
It's dead. We GFL'd it. Sorry.
We GFL'd it.
That's called GFLing.
K-hill it.
Yeah, I was gonna say we've got K-hilling and we've got GFLing. They're 2 very distinctly different things. But yeah, guys, if you are just tuning in, we will have LFA founder, legendary MMA manager, businessman, entrepreneur Ed Soares on the show very shortly. He's running a couple minutes late in the car. No big deal. We have plenty to talk about here. This Brawl in the Berg 28 card, of course, coming up this Saturday in Bell Vernon, PA. I do want to talk about the venue a little bit, CFS Bank Event Center, because I acknowledge the fact that most people don't think about taking a trip out to Bell Vernon. Sure, the Mon Valley sometimes gets forgotten about in the greater scheme of greater Pittsburgh area. But let me tell you, this venue's sweet, dude. When I went in there, I was like, yeah, we're cooking. Like, this is going to be awesome. Parking's amazing, which is a huge thing, of course, at any venue. The parking is fantastic. It is a hockey rink by day, so you can kind of picture that layout. It's a layout that we've done before, kind of the Murraysville Sports Zone. Even though the Hollywood Casino at the Meadows isn't a hockey rink, the setup will feel familiar if you've been to any of those shows. It's big. It has nice amenities. It has Bubba's Kitchen right there, restaurant and bar inside. So, I mean, there's just a lot of really nice stuff going on there. And I think people are going to be very surprised at how nice this venue is.
And if you're buying tickets, there's a special ticket that give you access to Bubba's as long as there's tables available. So in Bubba's, so let's say hypothetically you're coming for the main event or the co-main event, and you get there early and you want to have a bite to eat. You can get certain tickets that give you access to Bubba's Kitchen, where you can also still have visibility. It overlooks the arena.
Yeah, which is an amazing view, honestly. But I think, we're going to be, if you're coming to an MMA event, you want it to be loud. You want it to be crazy. You want to feel that energy. You probably want to be on the floor close to the cage or something of that nature. But it's not a bad place to watch from if you want to have your space and be a little more insulated
I'm
from it all.
just saying to escape and eat and then go back to
we got
the fight you were there to see.
I want to shout out while they're here. Our boys, Eat Shroom Bar, just popped into the podcast. What's up, Shroom Bar? We were singing your praises earlier on the podcast. We'll make a little clip out of that for you. But we were just saying, all of our sponsors, we genuinely believe in them, and you guys are no different. I actually ate a Shroom Bar on my way to the venue today. So I'm feeling good. I'm feeling clear. I'm feeling mentally on point. I think Ryan had one. Did you just have one too?
Oh,
look at that.
Oh, I had one.
Look at that.
And I love Shroom Bars. It's taken over. Like, Shroom Bar is where it's at.
Where it's at. Yeah. Can't say enough good things about Shroom Bar. They are pretty awesome. Our fights this Saturday, guys, for people who have never been to a 247 fight, you get those tickets at 247fighting.com. And actually, Shroom Bar owner Tommy Walsh will be in the house.
That's music to my ears.
Crazy, right? Flying all the way in for this, not only working with us, but working with a lot of the local fighters as well. He is super stoked about the Pittsburgh scene in general, and I'm stoked about that. I'm stoked to have him there. We're going to put on an awesome show. Got James Stevenson in here too. Man, everybody's popping in. What's up? What's
guys,
up, James?
We are just moments away from being joined by the legend.
I'm not laughing at that. My dad said Hunter wouldn't share a bar with me. I forgot to take him a Shroom Bar when I went to visit on Easter.
What kind of human are you?
I'm the worst, but that doesn't surprise anybody.
I was just saying that we are going to be joined momentarily with LFA founder Ed Soares, who also is a extremely active businessman in the MMA world. You've seen him in many different aspects in the UFC as a manager, as a I mean, he wasn't necessary. Oh, are we?
He's here.
He's here.
Ryan, he's here. Let's add him.
Let's wait no longer.
Mr. Soares, what's up, man? Thank you for joining.
Oh, man. Sorry I'm a bit late, man. I was stuck in this LA traffic.
Hey, no worries at all. I've been to LA twice, and both times I kind of wanted to die dealing with that traffic. I'm not going to lie. It's the worst.
No worries, man. Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining. We were singing your praises a lot in the lead up to you joining. We started this live stream about a little over a half hour ago, man. We were just kind of running through your background for people who aren't familiar. I feel like most of the MMA world is familiar with your work at this point, but I kind of want to kick you an interesting question just to start. You talk about everything you've done and how many avenues of the MMA world you've impacted. What do you consider yourself? Just a general businessman? What do you consider to be your primary focus?
At this point in my life, I think, my main focus is the LFA. Obviously, I still have so many relationships, and I still work with so many athletes, advising them. So that's a big part of my life too. But, I would say I spend the majority of my time, the management company that's out there, we have an incredible staff that kind of runs that, and I kind of advise them on how to operate things. But the day-to-day stuff that I spend most of my time on is really the LFA.
And you guys have an incredible card coming up, this LFA 210 card. We're definitely going to dive into that in full. We were talking before you joined. There's a lot of guys on this card. When we look at this card, we run 247 Fighting Championships in Pittsburgh. there's a lot of fighters who have competed for us on this card. So we were already personally all jazzed about this card, man. A lot of talent. Mateo Garner, Gabe Urett, Ilyas Mamadaliev, a lot of guys on this card that have actually been in our cage. So it's awesome to see it growing. When you build a card and the pace you guys are at is incredible. You know, everything you guys do at LFA, we've been crazy impressed with for years. The way you're growing, just the way you handle yourselves, the way you put together events. How do you go about building a card when you're all over the nation? Because us being more regional based, you know, it all starts with that local talent. The Pittsburgh talent for us kind of builds the foundation of our cards, but you're all over the place and a little more self-sufficient where that's concerned. So I just want to pick your brain a little bit. How do you go about building cards in all these different markets?
You know, to be honest with you, it's our team. You know, the reason we're so successful is the team that we have around us. You know, my business partner, Sven Bean, my business partner, Mark Berry, who's the primary matchmaker for our show. I mean, they really keep the train on the tracks. You know, we have a great relationship working with each other. I have my things that I do. They have their things that they do. And really, the reason we're so successful is because of obviously the way we treat our fighters. We put on a great product. You know, we do 25 shows a year all over the world, but really it's our team. You know, Mark Berry really does a lot of research, and really, you know, he's on point. To me, I think he's one of the best matchmakers in the business. I mean, the types of fights that because you have a lot of obstacles to take into consideration when you're trying to book a show like ours, because granted, we're not the UFC. It's not like we just walk into town and say, hey, LFA's here, and tickets fly off the, you know, start selling. So we have to take a combination of bringing the best talent, unsigned talent from all over, internationally, all over, and also integrate that with the local talent to give the support to the local areas and develop these talents and develop these pockets of these markets that need to be developed. So it's really a very unique kind of situation. And I got to tell you, man, Mark Berry is incredible at it. And my partner, Sven Bean, he's the one who kind of, like, you know, the operations of the business and the production, he does that. So really, and then all of our staff going all the way down to everyone, but really those are the key factors in our success. So I can't really take the credit for putting the card together. You know what I mean? I don't do that. It's Mark that does the majority of that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. One of your fighters right now in the comments is dropping all kinds of comments. Jeremy Bad Combo Henry, he just fought for us. He actually knocked out UFC vet Kamal Worthy in the first round for us, and now he's fighting on your card, this LFA 210 card. So awesome to see him jump there too. An awesome guy. Have you dealt with him at all directly?
Not personally, no, but I see that he's going to be fighting Dakota Hope.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an awesome fight. I would say he was easily the most high energy fighter we've ever worked with at weigh-ins. You know how guys are at weigh-ins. They're drained, they're exhausted, they don't want anything to do with life, but Bad Combo is going to be a breath of fresh air where that's concerned. He is a super high energy guy, super fun. You guys are going to love him.
Oh, that's great. That's like I said, we are just so grateful for all the fighters that, you know, always come out and perform and do everything that they do for us. You know, at the end of the day, yeah, the LFA is a great organization, this and that, but without the fighters going out there and giving it their all and leaving it all in the octagon, you know, that we wouldn't be what we are today. So I'm extremely grateful, you know, for everybody, for our team, and also for the fighters that go out there and put it all out on the line for us.
Yeah, what excites you? I think the regional MMA game, and of course, you guys are at the very top end. As we were talking actually before you joined, you guys are the very top level of regional MMA, where it's, I don't even know if you consider it regional MMA at that point. You guys are clearly a step ahead.
I personally don't consider us a regional MMA show, and we're doing 6 shows in Brazil.
Right. Yeah, so it's pretty international at this
point.
We're
an international show, and we're going to be expanding to Europe this year. And not only regionally, I mean, we do shows from California to New York and everywhere in between. So, you know, people have a tendency to say, oh, regional. We're not a regional show. I mean, unless you can tell me a regional show that that does 25 shows a year all over the world, then cool.
Yeah.
But we're the only ones.
Yeah, no, clearly a step above. And what you've done even before LFA, you know, as a manager being associated with the best of the best fighters at the very highest levels, what excites you about LFA specifically when you've seen and done so much in the sport? What about this LFA business and the business model is fun for you?
I enjoy making a difference in a lot of these athletes' lives. And you know, when we started before it was the LFA, we were the RFA, and our vision in that was really to develop an organization to really develop the talent to get to the UFC, because so many times before you'd see a guy you know, fighting in a high school gymnasium in front of 500 people. And then 3 weeks later, they get the call to go fight in the UFC, and they're walking out into the Staples Center with 17,000 people screaming. And it was a little bit of a shock for them. So at that point in time, I was a manager, and I saw that there was a void in that area of a transitional event to get these guys used to having cameras in their face, international, you know, distribution, so they could feel what it's like to have the lights, cameras on them, and also prepare them. You know, obviously the fights that we put on prepare you as a fighter inside the octagon, and we don't really put in smash fights. We put in fair fights that really, really prepare and develop these guys, so when they get into the big organization, they see what they know what it's like. They've overcome some adversity. And so for me, the biggest joy is just helping develop these guys and making a difference in these guys' lives. I always explain it like, if I was to look at a fighter as like a wall, like a block wall, and the LFA can be a few of those bricks that make that wall of success, I'll be extremely happy with that. And that's what we enjoy doing, you know, giving a platform for these guys to perform and then step up to the UFC and see what they can do there. That's what makes me happy.
It's very apparent, I think, in the way you treat not only your organization but the fighters. And I gotta wonder how much of your managerial background shines through and allows you to kind of excel at that. Because one of the common themes that we always hear about LFA is just how great you treat your fighters. And fighters always come back from an experience with LFA saying how amazing it was and how they felt like a superstar and a rock star, all the way from they show up until they leave the cage and beyond. But it seems like your personal touch and your personal care towards fighters is something that you put a lot of effort into.
Well, we do as the LFA, and once again, it's not just my personal touch; it's the personal touch of everyone on our staff that does that, and that's what we really try to do. We try to make these guys feel as close as it can to fighting in the UFC. And like you said, I come from being a manager, and I think some of the best promoters in the world come from being a manager, sort of like Dana White. Dana White was Tito Ortiz's and Chuck Liddell's manager first before he became a promoter. So to me, I feel that I come with the mentality of the fighter first, not like your typical promoter who's thinking, oh, we got to make money and we got to, no, I'm thinking fighter first always. And for me, if it means make less money or make no money, but put on a good event and treat the fighters the way that they should be treated, that's the way I'm always going to go.
I love it, man. And people who have never been in the promoting business might overlook so much that goes into it. You know, from the outside in, you kind of see fight night and you think you just show up and put on a show and get fighters to agree to fight each other, and that's that. But behind the scenes, there's a punch list of a million things you have to accomplish before a show can even happen. And one thing I like that you guys do, and you talk about getting them ready for the UFC, is this idea of a live weigh-in show to where even your weigh-ins are a spectacle. And I know in Louisville, you have a really awesome partnership lined up for the weigh-in. So can you just talk about that and how that came to be and why you think that's important to LFA to even have such a relationship?
Yeah, when first of all, when we go to Louisville, that is a big factor in us going to Louisville is Eddie Donaldson. Eddie Donaldson is a old friend of mine. We've been friends for close to 30 years. Back when I was a nightclub promoter and he was doing shows and parties and stuff like that in LA. So he's the one who really was really on us to come to Louisville. And he's been able to open up so many great partnerships there with the Louisville Sports Commission, a partnership with Danny Wimmer Presents in Louder Than Life, which is a huge music festival there. And Danny Wimmer is another person that I've known for many, many years being in LA, because he used to run Fred Durst's record label. And back when I was doing clubs and doing that, so I've known him for many years. But yes, the partnership we have with the Goodwood Brewery on Whiskey Row is going to be incredible, because we're going to have our live weigh-in streamed from there live on our YouTube channel. And it's going to be incredible, because then the athletes, and not only the athletes, but the fans will be able to see, it's kind of like, like at being in Louisville or Kentucky, having the horse races, you kind of get to see the horses when they trot by right before the race or something. It's kind of like you get to see these guys, they're weighed in the morning. This is the ceremonial weigh-in. So it's not like they're all, they're already replenished. They're full. You can see their attitude, how focused they are. And it's just a great, spectacle to watch. And also gives these kids one more kind of feeling of what it's like to fight in the big show. And like I said, the Louisville community has just been so incredible in supporting us, and we're extremely excited about doing this at the Goodwood Brewery on Whiskey Row. It's going to be insane. I'm heading out to Louisville in the mid-May, and I'm going to be doing a bunch of media and stuff out there for the show, and I'm looking forward to checking out the brewery and meeting everyone over there. But like I said, Louisville has accepted us with open arms, and I know a big factor with that is Eddie Donaldson going out there and kind of laying everything down for us.
That's perfect. And we actually have Eddie in the chat as well. He's been commenting, so shout out Eddie. Definitely getting his flowers today, and deservingly so, it sounds like.
Oh, without a doubt. Like I said, we wouldn't be in Louisville if it wasn't for Eddie. So Eddie is the one who was who spearheaded that and made sure that he was on me always. Hey, we got to come to Louisville. We got to come to Louisville. And sure enough, he made it happen. And I'm looking forward to having our second show there on June 13th.
Did he help negotiate the venue as well? Because I got to say, one of the most exciting things of this card is simply where it's taking place. Freedom Hall, look, sounds. This is an amazing venue, man. Muhammad Ali made his debut there. I found out. I mean, that's crazy. So the history here is nuts. What's it like to be in such a historic venue?
Well, that's another incredible part of the of going to Louisville with such a huge fight history there, with a legend, an icon like Muhammad Ali. And as far as the question you asked, did Eddie help? Eddie helped in every aspect of this show, of making this show successful. Like I said, he introduced us to everyone there, all the different partnerships that we have in Louisville is all because of Eddie. And the Louisville Sports Commission, it goes on and on and on. So yes, Eddie has been a part of every step of this, and gratefully I appreciate him a lot, because the success of this show will greatly be his responsibility, and he definitely deserves credit for that.
Well, in typical LFA fashion, I mean, you guys have everything pretty buttoned up, it seems, from start to finish. But any promoter knows a fight card's only as good as the fights themselves. And you guys have a crazy lineup going on this. Like we kind of mentioned some of the guys we were familiar with. But when you dig into this card, you talk about the exciting part for you being getting guys ready for that next level UFC, building them up. And, man, top to bottom, there's just guys all over this card that I could see in the UFC one day. So what fights stand out to you? What are you most excited about with this fight card?
Well, I can tell you this. With the main event that Lance Lawrence put on last year, I mean, who cannot be excited about seeing Lance Lawrence coming out there and fighting again? I mean, that kid was like that. To me, that's like a storybook kind of story. It's a story, you know, a storybook story. It's like a fairy tale sort of thing. You know, the kid was lower on the card. I think he might have been the co-main event or the feature fight of the night. Then the week of the fight, the main event had to get pulled off. We move him up into the main event. He's fighting as the main event in his hometown, and puts on potentially the fight of the year. It was nominated for fight of the year. I mean, it was just an incredible war, and he comes out victorious in his hometown. So I'm extremely excited about watching him fight. And like I said, there's so many people on the card. I've always liked the girl fights. Right now, we're working on putting together some. There's a few fights that aren't completely finalized yet, so I can't really talk about. But we do have a lot of local talent. Like I said, Lance Lawrence, Emilio Valencillo, Dalton Goins, Todd Pickett, Eden Hall, Anthony McCormick, and Eric Sanchez, which are all, you know, local to that region. And like I said, a few of them are amateurs. So we're going to have, I believe, 3 amateur bouts, 3 or 4 amateur bouts, and the rest are going to be pro fights. So like I said, we're coming to this area not only to, come on and put on a show, but we want to make this sort of an annual thing to come back there. So I feel it's important to develop the sport from the bottom up, and having some amateur fights on the card is important. So these amateur kids can feel wow, man, this is what it's like. They're fighting in the same octagon as the pros. They're fighting and they get the same treatment as the pros. The only difference is they're fighting in 3-minute rounds and it's in the prelims. But at least they get the feeling, and it kind of knocks off some of those fears that they may have when they're stepping up into a bigger show.
No, that's incredible, and that's one of my favorite things that you guys do, just from our bias and doing this, we host majority amateur fights. The scene in Pittsburgh isn't quite large enough yet to be pro dominated. We do have, 3, 4, 5 pro fights per card, but the majority of our cards are amateur, and being able to see them get a very positive experience as well and kind of feel 1,000+ person crowd and everything for the first time is awesome. So I would imagine for you guys doing that times 10 as you do, that has to be a good feeling for you to watch these amateurs come in and just get that experience, right?
Oh, 100%. And like you mentioned earlier with, fighting in a historical venue like Freedom Hall, which was, the home of Muhammad Ali's debut fight. I mean, like what a feeling. I mean, I'm not a fighter. I've never fought, but wow, I would have loved the opportunity to fight in an event at something like that,
Yeah, absolutely. It is really cool. When I was looking into this LFA 210 card, that stood out right away. Just having a good venue just kind of sets the tone. When you got a fight card like this and a venue like that, you guys have definitely set the stage for something special to happen on June 13th. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and like I said, it's such a I'm so grateful and have so much gratitude for everybody that has, the local Louisville area who's really came out to support and has welcomed us with open arms. Like I said, the Louisville Sports Commission, the Danny Wimmer Presents, the Louder Than Life, and the cool thing is he's going to be doing ticket giveaways for Louder Than Life at the show. And once again, having those weigh-ins at the Goodwood Brewery, it's going to be incredible. So we're trying to give an experience to not only the athletes but the fans, to the city of a huge show. And that's what we're trying to do. And we're extremely grateful for everyone in Louisville that accepts us and supports us.
That's amazing. Well, I know we as a team will be checking our calendars and seeing what's going on. Louisville's not that far away. This card's great and the venue's amazing.
Come on down, man.
Yeah, I definitely want to check it out. So funny enough, I used to run flowcombat.com, and I ran that Sioux Falls fight night that was kind of semi-affiliated with LFA when we were there. So
we helped them with that. It was
yeah.
Dave Norton. He put on that Sioux Falls fight night, and we kind of help them with the back end of it, just because he's another one of our close partners that we do a show. As a matter of fact, our show last week was in Sioux Falls, and in the same venue, the Sanford Pentagon.
Yep. I loved that place, man. To this day, I tell people who are traveling the U.S., don't sleep on Sioux Falls. That city, I loved that city so much. Like, easily a top 3 city in the U.S. for me that I've visited.
I agree, man. A kid coming from Los Angeles, I'm going, Sioux Falls, what the heck is in Sioux Falls? And not only is it such a great city and so much fun, cool, fun things to do there, but the people in Sioux Falls are just phenomenal people. They're just very welcoming, and it's just, they're good old boys, and they're solid people, man. And that's always a nice environment to do business in.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. We had a fan question I got to ask you, and I'm not sure if you'll be able to answer it exactly. I definitely understand it if you need some time to think about something like this, but I did think it was an interesting question. We had Jared Billy said, I have a question for Ed. If he could pick his top 3, who is he most proud of for getting into the UFC directly from LFA? So who are kind of the top 3 guys you've sent to the UFC that you were proud of?
God, there's just so many.
Yeah.
When I think of their names, I mean, God, I feel it's hard. It's hard because it's really hard. I couldn't name just 3,
right,
but I'll name a few. I'll name, Alex Pereira. I'd like to, Valentina, Sean O'Malley, Brandon Royval, Brandon Marino, Alexander Pantoja. Those are. I apologize to all those other athletes that I haven't, that I maybe slipped my mind, but there's just been so many. Derek Lewis, Dominic Reyes. I'm just trying to think of the recent cards and the people that have fought. I mean, there's just been so many. I mean, currently we have almost 35 to 40% of the current UFC roster are LFA alumni. So to be honest with you, we're proud of every single one of them. As you can see, every time one of those athletes fight in the UFC, we're supporting them. And to me, it's like fighting in the LFA is almost kind of like being in a fraternity. Once you fought and you shed some blood in our octagon and went out there and put on a battle, it's like you're with us for life, and we're going to support you through all of your ups and downs of your career. And we're proud of you, and we're very proud that you made your journey through us.
Yeah, that's incredible. And hearing you go through those names, I was laughing and smiling as you went through. No big deal. Just some of the absolute biggest stars in the UFC right now. It's like name dropping just the absolute best of the best. It's an incredible run you guys have had. And you mentioned your team so much throughout this interview that I feel like I know the answer. But what does set LFA apart in being able to do this? I mean, there's so many organizations trying to get regional talent into the UFC, into the next level. But what sets LFA so far apart where, like you said, 35-40% of the UFC's roster has LFA vet tag on them, which is just insane? What do you think has worked so well for you guys?
Well, I think it's a combination of a lot of things. Number one, the partnership with UFC and UFC Fight Pass enables us to put on a platform. The other thing is the volume of shows that we do. We do 25 shows a year. In comparison, I don't think there's anybody out there other than the UFC that does that. So when you combine those two things, and then obviously all of our sponsors, from Monster Energy to OnlyFans to Brunt Workwear to Bondi Pure, every one of our Bet Online, all of these sponsors enable us to put on a product and improve our product. And doing that. And then of course, our team that goes out there and does it. So it's not attributed to just one specific thing. It really takes a village. And those are just a few of the important tools that we have that make our show successful. But I do believe that the reason is number one, because of the amount of shows that we do and the partnerships that we have, meaning with our media partnerships, our venue partnerships, and also our sponsorship deals, is what enables us to put on such good product and develop these guys so well.
Yeah, it truly does take a village, and it's clear you guys have grown an amazing village, an amazing MMA community. I think everybody, as I said, everybody I know who's had any contact with LFA in any way, whether it's a fighter or manager or just a fan who's been to a show, never heard a bad word said about you guys. And in this business, that is rare, as I'm sure you know.
For sure.
Yeah, it's amazing, man. I'd be remiss if I didn't give a little shout out to a comment here. We have our guy, he's actually our pro featherweight and lightweight champ, Ethan Goss, in the comments. He's lobbying, saying, let Ed know I'm the next guy. So I got to get our guy, Ethan Goss, on your radar.
Right on. Is he fighting on our card?
No, he's fighting for us this Saturday, actually. So if he defends this Saturday, maybe we can send him your way.
Hey, man. Yeah, definitely. You know, fights fall out all the time. And we you know, that's the type of guys that we want on our card. You know what I'm saying? Guys that are going to make a difference, guys that want to go out there and put on a show. That's what makes the difference. You know what I mean? It's you know, and, you know, a lot of times people know that when you step into the LFA, you're going to get a tough fight. And I really, truly believe that you really don't lose in the LFA. You either win or you learn. Because even if you end up getting a loss on that night, you come out of that night being a more experienced fighter, being a better fighter, and it's just, you really don't lose. Like you have more exposure than you did before the night before you had the fight. So regardless of the result, I feel that fighting in the LFA, you're either going to win or you're going to learn. And both of them are great steps in your career.
Yeah, it's a fantastic mindset. And like I said, just a real kind of feather in LFA's cap, I feel like, to where just competing for you guys at the level you do it, the organization wise, everything, all these little personal touches you do for the fighters, all the way from weigh-ins, from the time they get off the plane, from what I understand. I've heard fighters rave about the way you pick them up. That is rare. Like, all those little touches really go a long ways. So I think just everything on that level. And I did want to give the chance. Our owner, Ryan Middleton, is here kind of lurking in the background in the podcast studio. I wanted to give him the chance to talk to you too, because obviously you guys have a lot of shared interests and everything. So I'm going to kick it over to Ryan for a minute.
You've kind of covered this really well, but the one thing is, I'm like super fired up about this card. And Ed, I got to ask you, how do I go and get tickets for this card?
Man, Ticketmaster. You can go to Ticketmaster.com and go on there and you know, look up LFA, and the June 13th show will be on there. I actually just went on last night to go look at it, and there's still a lot of great seats left.
That's great to hear. You guys are in a venue that is like massive. Are you guys used to being in such big venues, or is this kind of like a bigger venue for you guys?
You know, this is on the bigger side of venues that we've been on. I would say this could potentially be one of the bigger venues we've ever been in here in the United States. And we're excited about that. And I think Louisville is a town that we could be able to pull that off. So we're really looking to have 6,000 to 7,000 people there on June 13th watching MMA. So that will be the biggest event we've had here in the U.S. The biggest event we've had overall was we did a show a couple years ago in Brazil, in Recife, Brazil, and we had just under 11,000 people in the arena.
Wow. That's awesome. I've heard one of the local coaches here in Pittsburgh raves a lot about you, and that's Danilo Villafort. He is a great friend of mine, and he speaks volumes about you and just your personality and who you are as a person.
Oh man, Danilo is Injo is a great guy, man. I've known him for many, many, many years, and he's a solid guy. And I'm so happy to see what he's doing there in the Pittsburgh area with his gym, with his school, developing fighters. I mean, a guy that has the experience that he has, and the he's trained with the best in the world, all over the world. So, I mean, I feel that the people of Pittsburgh and in that area are very fortunate to have such an experienced guy, you know, that close to you that you can go and do classes with, because that guy has been around the world and seen a lot of things in our industry, and he's a great guy to learn from.
He truly is. My youngest son and his son are like best friends. So they have like, I call him Cadino Villafort because he's over their house. So
Yeah.
like he's Danilo's like little son, you know.
Right. That's perfect.
Awesome. Thanks so much for taking the time out. I'm going to kick this back over to Hunter, but thanks for taking the time out. We're so excited to help with this whole media promotion of your next Kentucky venture.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate the support of everybody. And, you know, without you guys, we wouldn't be able to have our successful show. So I greatly appreciate everything you guys do.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm sure everybody, I know our fans were buzzing about you being on the show. So like Ryan said, we just appreciate the time, man. Everything you've done in the business of MMA, as we said, a super unforgiving business where so many guys come in with a lot of hype, a lot of steam from the business level to the fighter level and just kind of fizzle out. And I mean, you've been doing this for decades and at the very highest level. So that kind of says it all about how you treat things and how you handle yourself and how you treat others. So we're just very thankful for your time and to associate with an organization like LFA and be able to pick your brain a little bit. It's a real honor, man. We appreciate that.
Hey, man. Well, thank you. Thank you for taking the time and inviting me on the show. And anytime you guys, I'm here, man. I love coming on these things. I love talking about what we do and helping the sport grow. That's what's important. And appreciate you guys doing your event there. I think all these events all around the world are important to develop the talent and hopefully feed them up into the bigger leagues, into the bigger leagues and the bigger leagues. And that's how it works. But it like I said, it starts at the very bottom and moves up. And we appreciate every one of these events, because without you guys, we wouldn't have these guys to come step up and take some of these better fights. And then they move up onto the main card, and then hopefully they move up into the UFC. So appreciate everything you guys do also.
Thanks, man. That means a lot. After our show this Saturday, we should have a handful for you. I'll keep in touch. I'll keep that short list for you.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Hey, you too. Take care.
Yes,
Thanks,
sir.
Ed.
Well, that was awesome. We super appreciate Ed Soares jumping on the show. That was a genuine honor. You know, there's a lot of times that these media availabilities, you know, I have a journalism degree. I've talked about it on this show before. My history is in journalism, and there's a lot of time that these media availabilities are just kind of doing somebody a favor. You know, you're just doing it because they offered it. But this interview, talk, podcast, whatever you want to call it, this was not that. This was genuinely excited to talk to Ed Soares and talk about LFA. That was so cool. A true legend in the sport and just doing great things at the very highest level. So that was amazing. That was really cool, man.
He's a great guy. He's everything, you know. When you have people that you have like a ton of respect for, like we do with Danilo, and Danilo speaks so highly of him, you know, he's like a super awesome, solid guy. He's not just like this ego guy. So there was no concern with that. But having, you know, talking to a guy that has done the things that he's done, and it's just it's a cool moment. And Parm is in the house.
Parm in the house, off camera, but still nice and parmy. I thought, like, when I walked in, I smelled a little parm coming in here. He came in, snagged a Monster Energy, which shout out Monster Energy, as Ed said, a major LFA sponsor. So there you go. We even got a little Monster plug in for them, and I was drinking one during the show as well. So there you go. You know, Monster Energy all over the place, just doing good things. So LFA in Louisville, Kentucky on June 13th. Ryan, I mean, if we're not having a show or doing anything, I kind of want to go.
Yeah, I think that's worth going. And as a matter of fact, like, well, you know, that May date, you know, maybe we try to hook up with Ed and sit down.
That'd be pretty sweet. That'd be pretty sweet. Yeah, I couldn't agree more, man. So that was just really cool. We appreciate all the engagement as well, guys, and comment and asking Ed questions and everything. That was a really cool opportunity. They're doing great stuff. We hope you check them out. And of course, if you have UFC Fight Pass and can't go, you can always catch them there. UFC Fight Pass, pretty cool app. They're doing things pretty all right. So yeah, that was great. And if you guys tuned in before Ed joined, you heard us talking about our show Saturday, Brawl in the Berg 28. Can't really say enough about this fight card. Internally, we've been calling it some of our finest work from a lineup perspective. You know, the fighters still got to go out and perform ultimately, but we've set the stage. They've set the stage. Ticket sales look great. Everything looks great. I cannot wait for Saturday in Bell Vernon. But Ryan, if you had to pick a fight that we haven't talked about yet, you know, we talked about Justin Patton versus Chuka Willis. We talked about Ethan Goss versus Brady Huang. The co-main crazy strong, as we said, we even had to bring it up with Ed a little bit. Had to do that, you know, had to get them on his radar because they're truly worthy of that next level at this point. But if you had to pick a different fight, Ryan, which one on this card has your interests?
All right. Well, let's take a look here. Scrolling through the fights. Well, we kind of touched on it, but like it's a super exciting fight. And I think it could be fight of the night. And Tyler Dybert and James Lyoto is nothing short of we say this and it occasionally happens, but I don't think we oversay this. This could be a pro fight.
Yeah.
Like these guys could both be pro at this point in their skill level. And we're getting it at the amateur level. And so why I see that as important is when you have the skill level of a pro and you're fighting amateur, you can condense. You don't have to reserve energy. You don't have to like these guys can easily go 3x3. So they can go like it's going to be more action packed because you have limited time to impress. You have limited time to do damage. More limited than you do when you're a 5 rounds, 3 5-minute rounds. So I get excited when you have the level of pros at an amateur fight because of that. It's going to be more condensed, more high energy, more like less conserved. Like they're not going to be as conservative as they would be as a pro.
I like that. That's a great point. You know, I hadn't really considered that factor, but I definitely love that. I think it'll be fun to see Dybert's first time under advanced rules as well. And I might be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong. This is
usually wrong.
This is James's first time in advanced rules for us as well. I believe James.
It is,
yeah.
But he's fought elsewhere under that rule.
So. But for us, we haven't seen him with the advantage or disadvantage. Dybert's a really good wrestler as well of ground and pound to the head, so that could work in his favor or not. We'll see.
Yeah, that's the thing. You got two guys with like high level wrestling, and I think because James Lyoto is an active wrestler in college that we're kind of like you just intimated that he had the advantage there and then pulled it back. I don't know that that's the case, and I'm excited to see this.
Yeah, that bout has the right kind of question marks where you're like, yeah, maybe. And both of them have deceiving stand-up. I think Tyler Dybert's last fight, he really showed off his hands to a level that I remember even asking him backstage, or not asking, but saying backstage. I was like, man, you got hands too, huh? I didn't know that. Didn't see that in the first 2 fights. So yeah, he's impressive. James is obviously impressive. You know, Layshock's going to have Lyoto working on his boxing, so I'm excited to see that kind of leveled up boxing from him. And yeah, that fight's super exciting. If I had to pick one, I got to give a shout out to TJ Sloan versus Kyle Geisinger. I've been insanely excited about this fight since it was signed, since it was announced. These guys, you know, at 155 amateur, they're both like 6'2". They both have crazy athletic frames. They're just huge lightweights who are very athletic, very committed to getting better at MMA and taking it very seriously. Like you do not see amateurs take it as seriously as both of these guys do, all the way from the training multiple times a day to their diets to the way they sell tickets to the way they build their brand online. They've got the whole package, both of them, and they're very similar. So this is kind of like a mirror image fight, and that excites me a lot. They've both impressed mightily inside the 247 cage already, so I'm very excited to see what the next step looks like for both of them. That's a bout that I've had circled for a long time.
That's interesting that like a novice amateur bout is that standout bout for you. That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah, I mean, this card, top to bottom, pro, novice AMI, advanced AMI, and then we've got a crazy Muay Thai fight between Drew Landefeld and Kassarian Spence, who Spence is 6-0 in Muay Thai, and Landefeld, everybody knows it as the lunatic, all action, all day. He's stepping into Kassarian's world, and we'll see how that works for him. You know, Drew is on an absolute tear. It will surprise absolutely nobody if Drew goes in and just does his thing, because he's that talented, he's that aggressive, he's that fun and energetic that he's going to be a problem for anybody. But on paper, Spence has a big advantage in strictly Muay Thai, but count out the lunatic at your own risk. You know what I mean? I would personally not do that. So this fight is looking really juicy too. So a little sprinkle of Muay Thai for you guys too in Bell Vernon. It just top to bottom, you know, I couldn't be more proud of the way this card came together. And I think we have a really genuinely special night queued up for fans in Bell Vernon. So if you guys want to come see what I'm talking about, see it live and in person, tickets are available at 247fighting.com.
I want to, one of the things that I'm super excited about, we haven't even talked about it, is Bronco Busick and Dale Reed. Now, listen, Dale Reed, this is a huge man. He's weighed in at the heavyweight limit. He's fought super heavyweight. He's coming all the way down, getting close to 205 now. This is a 215 catch weight against Bronco, who this is his sweet spot weight wise, where he doesn't have to kill himself to get down to 205 and he's comfortable with this weight. And this is an awesome fight. Bronco has shown he is much more skilled than his record indicates. He is a great guy that will totally take on anyone at any time, any place. If it's at a McDonald's,
I was waiting for
if it's at a McDonald's like line and someone says to someone kicks his daughter, he's not going to ask him what his weight is. He's going to fight the guy. And that's his attitude. He's actually told that story to
Josh Vasoki.
Yeah.
That's fun.
And then the other pro fight is Nico Petrides versus Brett Schoenfeld.
Bro,
listen to me when I tell you this. Nico Petrides is a extremely skilled guy who wants to get some he's a little frustrated with what happened last time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have that angle, and then we also have Brett Showtime Schoenfeld, who was a legend of the Pittsburgh game 10 years ago, right? He was a part of the original Pittsburgh, fight game, more in like Central PA and Altoona when they had fights out there and stuff, and was a force. And he fought on our first card, and it was after a 3-year layoff, and it didn't go his way. And he has not gotten rid of the sour taste in his mouth of that. And now he's ready. He's no young spring chicken anymore. He's 30. I think he's 35.
Got to be close.
Roughly 35 years old. So he wants to, this is the, he wants to end his career, not right now, but like he wants his career to end in a way that is different than the way it had previously ended. So he has a lot riding on this. This is his legacy, and he wants to come out victorious at all costs.
I'm personally very excited by that. I view it as an extremely positive sign for where his head's at and where his motivation's at, because all the way back to, he was at our 2 most recent Murraysville fights, and he's just itching to fight. You can tell when he's there, he wants to be in that cage so badly. So this is an example of a guy who isn't letting it get away, who said, I still got gas left in the tank and I'm about to prove it. And he's always been extremely dangerous. I think his hands are phenomenal. He's very aggressive as well. And he's got nothing to lose. To Ryan's point, everybody kind of cast him off and thought he was done. So he's coming in here like ready to prove some people wrong. And Nico is the perfect dance partner for that, because Nico backs down from absolutely nobody. We've seen him fight for us enough at this point to know Nico Petridi's fight is an exciting fight, period. It doesn't matter who you put against him. So now you match him up against an absolute pit bull like Brett Schoenfeld. That one does have makings of fight of the night as well. And the great thing about this card is I think you could go down top to bottom and make a case for literally every matchup being fight of the night. That's exciting.
So one of the things that is important to me is, like, what do you hear from people you know and respect? And Ethan Goss has told me that Showtime Schoenfeld is one of the is the toughest person he has ever met. Like, he's never ever gonna quit. He's gonna keep going. And that's exciting when someone like the champ Ethan Goss says those kind of things. It gets you going, it gets you excited.
Not just that, but coming from a gym like Gorilla House that's known for that, trying to break people, trying to push them to their absolute limit. It is not an easy place to train in general. So if you stand out as being tough there, you're legit tough. There's no question about that. So yeah, the card top to bottom, guys, really crazy. Like we said, it's in Bell Vernon, CFS Bank Event Center. I would highly encourage you to come check it out in person if you're able to, if you can make that short trip out to Bell Vernon. Tickets at 247fighting.com. But if you can't make the trip, while you're at 247fighting.com, you will also see a link to the live stream pay-per-view that is on our app, 247 Live. So you can order it through stream247live.com and then watch that pay-per-view. The production's really good. I think you guys will like what you see on the pay-per-view as well. But we hope you're there in person. Let's be real.
247fighting.com. Also, huge shout out to Ed Soares and the LFA team. Eddie Donaldson is a big part of why they are coming to Louisville for their second show, and looking forward to being in one of the most legendary and iconic arenas, Freedom Hall. And yeah, what a great venue and legendary place.
Yeah, that was cool, man. I wanted to talk to Ed for like 3 hours, but I also wanted to respect his time. Yeah. But there's a lot of unanswered questions there.
We totally could have kept him here.
Yeah, for sure. That was really cool, man. Like Ryan said, huge shout out to Ed and the whole LFA gang. They're awesome. They're continuing to do great stuff, and highly recommend, if LFA ever comes near you guys, wherever you may be, check out their show, see how they do it. As Ed said, and as I can attest as being somebody who's been to LFA shows, basically like the UFC, man, it's one small step away, which now talking to Ed is very intentional on his part. So it definitely shows they're doing things at a very high level, and you should definitely support them. But in the meantime, we got our card this Saturday, April 26th, Bell Vernon, PA. Come check it out. Tickets and stream at 247fighting.com. We'll see you guys there. And we're going to end this stream. See ya.
See ya.
Dun, dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun.